co-hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Genesis Radio, www.genesisradio.com, Genesis Radio's owners, management, or affiliates.
Good evening, and welcome to GenesisRadio.com. My name is Kendall. I'm the host of the Empowerment Show. My co-host is
Shaquana Terry. Hi.
And how you guys doing this evening? I hope everybody's having a pleasant evening. Everything is going well. It was a little foggy out there tonight, right?
Yeah, little snow squalls and things of that
Yeah,
nature.
man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when they talk about the weather here in Pennsylvania, it's definitely bipolar.
It is.
Because you never know what you're going to get walking out the door. So we like to always start off with a moment of gratitude. So we'll start with you, young lady.
Yes, I'm just so grateful for safety, grateful for protection. Thank you for God. Thank you for everyone here tonight, and thankful for all of you out there listening in and watching us as well. Thank you.
And again, thank you for tuning in. The telephone number here is 888-304-4401.
Yes, and we're located right.
And we're located at
383 East Brown Street in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
And you guys can pick up the phone at any time. You give us a call, and we'll sit down and we'll chop it up, as they say. Yeah. So this evening, we do have a young man here. We got an HHH, which is Hal H. Harris. Yeah. And he is the president of the Rotary Club. Now, a lot of people don't even know what the Rotary Club is. I'm telling you, I didn't know what the Rotary Club was. I didn't know what they do. Just didn't know. So we asked this young man to come in so he can explain to us what is the Rotary Club.
Ooh, he done gave me a big task. I thought he was going to prep me in, do the intro and bio, but it's all good. First, let me give all my thanks to God.
Yeah.
Blessing us, me and everybody else with another day. And can we all just take a moment with a prayer for peace that's around the world?
That we can do. So we can take a moment, take a moment, bow your heads a little bit. And with all the things going on in Israel and really around the world, it just seems like people just want to go to war with each other. So hopefully we can have a little peace on this earth.
Yeah, it's like a fight against good and evil right now. So we're thankful for God and for everything that He has done, and we're having issues right here in the U.S. of A. Right, so not just in the other parts of the world. So we want to make sure that we're thanking God for waking us up every single day, and allowing us to do what it is that we do every single day.
And that's why we had this young man on, because he is a part of the community. So we like to kind of take it one step at a time. You start with the small things and hopefully they grow. So right now, what we're trying to do is build a better community, build a stronger community, build a more educated, a more knowledgeable community. So this way, maybe people will get an opportunity to come together.
I also hope that it becomes a more involved community, but that's the Rotary story, starting with something small and growing to something extremely large. In 1905, 4 Caucasian businessmen started this Rotary Club up in Chicago, Illinois. And it grew. Their first public works project as a nonprofit organization was the first public bathhouse in all of America. And that became one of their areas of focus, which was clean water and sanitation. Now we go back and there's a lot of stuff we take for granted. We take that shower, we take that toilet bowl for granted. That wasn't in everybody's houses. There was outhouses. And they built the first public bath facility so that people can come take a bath and use the public facilities or whatever the case is free of charge. The reason they did it was to remain relevant and to maintain their nonprofit status. Well, as they grew, more members came, and as they traveled around places, other people liked the idea of what Rotary does. As one person said, it's a bunch of do-gooders, people who have obtained some modicum of success in their life and have a desire and a will to give back. and subscribe to the Rotary axiom, which is service above self.
Mm.
I want to say that again: service above self. So if
I
you're
like
coming
that.
to get something from it, you're coming to the wrong place. But if you coming because you really want to improve your community, you come to the right place. So let me go on about Rotary. So as it grew, it focused on some areas of focus, things that they wanted to have a major impact on. If you see on my hat, it says "End Polio Now."
Mm-hmm.
So one of the areas was peace and conflict resolution.
Mm.
Another was water and clean water and sanitation. Another was disease treatment and prevention. And in 1985, they almost eradicated polio off the face of the planet.
Mm.
Unfortunately, they didn't quite get every nook and cranny, even though they inoculated 1.5 billion people on the face of the planet. And they put an end, as we knew it then, to polio, which is a very debilitating disease. But nonetheless, polio is making a little comeback. So Rotary has already pledged about $150 million to try to stamp it out once and for all. But as it grew into other areas, one of which was maternal health, maternal and child health. Another is basic literacy and education.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Economic development became one of its focuses, community and economic development. And then the seventh focus became the environment. Okay. Because Rotary responds to the issues that humanity needs responses to. Now, with all of that good stuff said, it grew from these 4 members in this one club to 36,000 clubs.
Wow.
And 1.4 million members. All right, we do have, the Rotary International has a staff,
Right.
but that's a lot of clubs. Each club focuses on its own little geographic area, but also contributes to a fund to help create, address those areas of focus worldwide. So from a worldwide spectrum, micro or macro, if you want, you know what I'm saying? Rotary is doing all that it can to try to improve humanity's conditions on this here planet. We ain't touch Mars yet, but we're gonna put a club up there soon. Elon Musk or whoever gets us.
So
there.
let me ask you, why did you choose to go into the Rotary Club?
Why did I choose to go in the Rotary Club? Actually, an associate of mine named Mitchell Marcus, he's an insurance agent in Stroudsburg. He was a member. He said, "Hey, Hal, why don't you come to a meeting, have a club meeting tonight?" And he took me to a club meeting, and it happened that I think the district governor happened to be down there, and they was talking about some of the things that they have done.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Wow, I like this," So I became involved. He's like, "Hal, would you think about joining?" And I didn't know it was a recruitment meeting, but that's what it became. But it was a recruitment not from, "Hey, join this," because it was, "Come see what we do.
Mm-hmm.
You like what we do? Why don't you become a member?"
Okay.
And so I did. And within less than 2 years, and less than a year actually, I was nominated there. Because when I get involved, I get involved. So I don't be playing,
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to give of myself, I'm going to give of myself. I'm retired, been retired for 21 years. So I had the time and I gave of the time. I saw some things that needed to be straightened out, so to speak, because with these volunteer organizations, a lot of times the paperwork isn't done right. And also with the Old Boys Network, as it works, elbow, that you are allowed to get away with certain things. But when I was nominated and elected president, I'm like, I know how they treat people of color. What they let people who are not of color get away with, they come and they shut us down when we get in these leadership positions. So I said all the paperwork had to be in place. I got with the treasurer, I got with the state, and I had found out that a number of things was not in order. And I went about making sure that those things got put in order. But I just want to go back and say, my election as a president also, let me go back to Rotary first. From 1905 to 1965, Rotary didn't allow Black people or the minorities into its ranks. Right now, it wasn't written in their bylaws that we were not permitted, but this goes back. It's not. It wasn't even covert, Terry. It was just the way that they designed the system, and the system there's unwritten rules. This is what critical race theory addresses: how a system is put together to exclude certain individuals by the very design of the system. But Rotary evolved, and Rotary actually is accepted in more countries than the United Nations, believe it or not.
So you said it's international.
It is international, Rotary International. We're in every country on the face of the planet. The UN can't even boast that. We are one of only 2 nonprofit organizations that has a seat on the United Nations. One is Red Cross and one is the Rotary Club. And what we do, we don't ask for anything in return for it. But it had to grow, it had to evolve. And I'm happy to say that it's in that evolution process.
Okay.
There's still some people that don't want to see diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want to see some diversity. And by the way, women weren't even allowed in Rotary until 1987,
I believe it.
until a Supreme Court case. Now, they used to be in there with their husbands, and they was known as Rotary Ants.
Rotary and
Rotary
I
Ants.
love it.
Because it was a Rotarian and
Yeah.
his wife or his lady, and they did a lot of the work. But by God's grace, as our country continues to evolve, a lot of the institutions, one of which Rotary is an institution in this country, they evolve, thank God, with the country. So that opened the door for me and others long before me in other clubs. But in Rotary Club of Mount Pocono, which was created in 1947, it was founded 76 years ago. And in all of that time, I became the first African American.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Okay.
And if I could just interject, right now, I know you said that Rotary is all over the world and you have so many different branches, or I don't know if you would call them branches, but
They're clubs.
they're clubs, right? How many women or African Americans are in the Rotary Club across the world?
Okay, the ranks are actually, when you open the door and you say sister or woman, lady, you can come in. They don't hesitate. Brothers, they rush in and they rush in big time. I see a lot more Rotarians that are women, and in fact, our area district governor Samantha Marzulli is a woman. Our current president or elect is a woman. Our former president Jennifer Jones was a woman. So those barriers, those glass ceilings have been broken as it relates to women. And we've had some, in other areas, district governors or zone governors or whatever the case is, zone
And
presidents.
apparently African-American men as well.
African-American males or whatever the case is. But what I don't want to happen, as the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono became more diverse, unfortunately, some of our longtime Caucasian members decided to step away. And I've reached out to them. Hopefully they'll come back. But what I found in life, a lot of times what happens is when we step to the table, they'd much rather burn down the building than leave us and allow us to control it.
Yeah, but you know what? That actually contradicts what it actually stands for.
And
if it's community or service over self, why are you stepping away if this is just about serving the community?
Well, but here's the reality of it. Humanity is still there. People are still there. So, like you can have a judge on the bench, but that judge is still who he is or she is underneath that robe.
Absolutely.
The robe doesn't make the person makes the robe. That's why we have Rotarians and then we have Rotary members. The difference is this: a Rotary member, submits their dues check and attends meetings. A Rotarian rolls up their sleeve, puts that service above self, axiom, and wears it and means it and stays in there and really helps the community. So we will overcome the challenges. I invite them all that left to come back, but I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to stop recruiting women in. I'm not going to stop recruiting people who, decide what their gender or what their sexuality or sexual preference is. They're welcome. When I say diversity, equity, inclusion, everybody can come into this tent no matter what your political party is, because you check that shit at the door. You check your ego at the door. If you want to come in and help the Mount Pocono and surrounding communities, which is inclusive of Monroe County, please come on, woman. And no children. We have Rotaract and Interact for that, but women and men of all ages, creeds, colors, religions, they're all welcome to come.
So if we wanted to join, my co-host and
Right.
I, how would we go about doing that?
Well, joining is a simple process, right? It's filling out an application, submitting your dues check. Out of every $200, I think Rotary actually makes $6 out of it, because we pay international and district dues and your magazine and insurance and all of that, or whatever the case is. So we don't want your dues per se. But that's as simple as it is. Submitting the application, it goes to the board approves it, and you're a member, okay? But that doesn't make you a Rotarian. What makes you a Rotarian is your willingness and your actual commitment to do the work, Okay, and so I say before you say, "Oh, I want to be a Rotarian," because it is prestigious. When you see this on somebody's resume, you got a worldwide network. You got a connection. I'm gonna tell you my Rotary moment, like we discussed before. But once you enter into this family, if you will, of people, it's just like any family. Me and you can be brother and sister, but we don't necessarily have to like everything we do. But for the family's good, we stick together. At that family reunion, we're gonna come, we're gonna argue, we're gonna fight, but then we're gonna sit down, we're gonna eat, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna make sure that something good gets accomplished.
Yes.
Talking about good. I can't. I'm gonna take a sip of this iced tea.
Right. You know, we were also having that discussion about speaking about good, and we're talking about the community and what we do for the community. We were also having that conversation about what you do for schools with the scholarship programs and stuff.
And I'll get to that. And because for me, I believe in doing real good instead of feel good. Now, for many years, there's a big difference. For many years, the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono, with good intentions, they did. You know, they had an annual fundraiser called the Community Aviation Day Flying Driving Pancake Breakfast, and it was held at the airport in Tobyhanna, New York, known as the Pocono Mountains Regional Airport. It used to be the Pocono Mountains, whatever, municipal airport. Now it's regional. It has a 1,000-foot runway. You can land in DC-9 at that airport. Can't take off from that airport with a DC-9, but you can land it. But it's a public airport that unfortunately has been run by a group of men like it's their private club, even though it's funded with taxpayer dollars on the state, federal, and local level. Okay, and I'm getting to that. So for 26 years, they've had this annual pancake breakfast and brought the community out, and they offered free flights for children aged 8 to 17 years of age. This exposed the community to this airport that was there that many people didn't even know about, and it raised money. But they did it. What they did with the money was a feel-good kind of thing. They would raise money, and I participated, and I was on the front page of the Pocono Record, handing this big check to the Salvation Army for $15,000. You know, and in years prior, they had given money to other organizations. I think United Way and Meals on Wheels and Feeding Families and all of these big name nonprofits that had their own fundraising department. But meanwhile, what I noted as I began recruiting around Mount Pocono was there was smaller organizations that was suffering and was fighting to keep their doors open, but was boots on the ground nonprofit organizations really helping people in the community, like the Garden of Giving and Youth Infusion and the Feeding Family Ministries and Eloise's Pantry and the Women's Veterans Museum. These people are struggling to keep their doors open. So I said, we got to do something different here. Yeah. We got to raise this money, and then we got to break it down into smaller portions to help keep the doors open, and the lights on at these organizations that are boots on the ground really doing it. Well, some people didn't like that. They didn't like that. They don't mind us coming to the table, provided they control the purse. And the airport actually wrote a letter to me, which was penned a few days after last year's event. They didn't write it to me. They wrote it to the president that was outgoing. He told me he didn't check his email for 3 months. But in September of last year, I get this letter that says they're taking over our event, basically. It says they're going to promote it and market it and decide where the money from the event goes, because I guess they didn't like the fact that we wanted to help a community center last year. We gave a donation to a community center that was built by a church that's there for everybody in the community, regardless of your race, creed, color, or whatever the case is. I guess they didn't like that. They wanted it to continue going to like places like the Special Olympics. And these places are nice and they do good, but we want to do good on a more localized level, because a portion of our money does go up every year for the last 30 years. Our club has given scholarships to each of the high schools, Pocono Mountain East, Pocono Mountain West, and MCTI, which is the Monroe County Technical Institute, because we recognize that it's more than just high school students going to college. Everybody's not college material. Some people are going to come out and be cooks. Some people are going to come out and work for civil service. So as it went on, I said, you know what, let's try to separate the fundraising part from the service part. and I created the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono Foundation.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Okay.
And the foundation now focuses on raising the money. All right. And through the foundation, we're going to start the Saturday Institute. And what is the Saturday Institute, you ask? It will be where children will come out for a 12-week program, and they'll be taught the FIT program, which is financial literacy, introduction to occupations, and Tech Connect. Now, it was going to be introduction to aviation, but unfortunately, Paul Morgan, the new owner of Moya Aviation, where we used to hold the event, our annual event in the hangar of Moya Aviation every year, when Vern Moya owned it. Vern he just passed away last year. In fact, within days of last year's event, and he opened his hangar up to the Rotary Club, and they would clear out the hangar. We would bring in the tables and the chairs, and we had our pancake line there. But for whatever reason, Paul said it doesn't fit his business model. Okay, but today, his wife was in the meeting at the Pocono Mountain School Board of Directors talking about they're going to start doing a fundraiser now in order to do scholarships for pilots. And again, when he came in, it was just like, what's changed? Nothing has changed about the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono except the color and the diversity of its leadership.
Well, I think now you just have to get a little bit more creative, and
Well,
you do.
When they take away old money, we're going to find new money.
Yes, that's it. This old money's produced every single day.
And I'm going to tell you honestly, that's the type of situation we've been going through. Pretty much every organization that it's nothing new, where we've had to climb a ladder, or we've had to struggle a little bit more, we had to work a little harder. So I mean, that just kind of goes par for the course, as they would say.
And I think that focusing on the problem, or focusing on the problem itself is not going to help anything. It's more just focus on, okay, you have your solution, what we're going to do for that solution, and we tackle that.
My good brother, Darlin Lovelace, who owns Nature's Technology on Main Street, said to me, we could focus on the problem, or we could focus on the solution.
That's it.
Now, I like someone to do another plug for Michelle Obama. She said, when they go low, we go high.
That's right.
Jamie Levy of the Levy Law Firm, who's one of our sponsors, said, how? If they take away old money, we have to find new money.
That's correct.
So we're out here, we're finding new money. Last year, $25,000 of sponsorship evaporated in thin air just because the Old Boys Network said, don't support it. This year, they have now said, first time in 27 years, Rotary Club has to put in an application in order to use the airport. So I had to complete a 10-page application. People say, why even bother? I'm like, you know what? They're going to put up the hurdles, and we're going to take those hurdles that they stand up, we're going to lay them down, and they're going to be the bridge to the new place that we're going to go.
That's correct.
They want us to go down, and we're going to get bigger and better. So this year's event on Saturday, May 25th, right in the heart of the Memorial Day weekend, as we've always done it, we're going bigger and better. It's going to be, we're going to have bouncy houses. We're going to have cash bingo. We're going to have alcohol sales available at the venue. We're still going to have our fabulous pancake breakfast.
As you should.
And we're going to shuttle, if we can get the sponsor, we will shuttle the people from the Mountain Center where the event is going to be held. And this time it's going to be rain or shine. See, because sister, before our bouncy houses was outside, now our bouncy houses are inside. We're going to have carnival games up there, whatever the case is. So it will really be a true community and family event that you come away from saying, man, I had a great time.
Where is this going to be located at again?
The Mountain Center is located at 384 Memorial Boulevard in Tobyhanna. It's about 2.5 miles away from the airport. But that's a short little run, and we're working either with March Bus or Coach Bus, one of them which will hopefully step up as a sponsor. If not, we're going to get the bus to shuttle the people to the airport so we can continue giving youth these free flights. If we get that sponsor, I know there's a sponsor out there. I'm calling out to you. American Airlines, Boeing, Continental Airlines, Delta. I'm calling out to you. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, somebody step up. Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Big Daddy. One of y'all step up and help so we can continue. If we don't inspire our youth into these different industries, we will not be able to impact those industries. You see? And this is why we have so few Black pilots. But you know when we got the approval for it today.
Good, good.
Yeah, it is good, but we've been working on this since September.
You know what? But you know what? We're not focusing on that problem. We're focusing on that solution.
But God
right?
is good, and we're gonna
That's
find
right.
a way
That's
to
right.
continue and hopefully have the flights also. And we're gonna minimize our use of the airport to just a 10, so that the people waiting to get on their flights will be able to get on their flights. I've reached out to 2 different nonprofit organizations, and hopefully they'll provide the pilots for the flights and the planes for free. I'm hoping that Dave Moyer, who was involved last year and who is the chairman of the Pocono Mountain Regional Airport Authority's Board of Directors, and John Herrick, who provided the free helicopter flights in the past, I hope that they will do it again. I sent a letter to them about 2 months ago asking them, and they still haven't answered yes or no. Hopefully they will. If they don't, you know what? We're gonna hire helicopters. We'll hire helicopter pilots, and we're gonna provide that or whatever the case is, because we're gonna keep moving forward so that we can raise money to continue doing real good.
Yeah, I think that what you're doing is good, and because you're doing it for the sake of the community, and you're
Mhm.
thinking about the service, not so much self, it's going to work itself out. No matter what blockages come in or try to come your way,
Right.
it does not matter. It's going to work itself out. So, with that being said, that's one event that you have coming up. You have any additional events?
Well, we do
coming?
other things.
Mhm.
Just today, I actually delivered the buddy bench components to the Clear Run Intermediate School.
Mhm.
Our Rotary Club has donated buddy benches over the last 15 years or so. We used to donate. We donated dictionaries, hard, paperback dictionaries.
Mhm.
For all of the children in the 3rd grade. We did that for the last 15 years. But that became a legacy program, and we've got to grow with the time. Today, somebody can say, hey, Google, what does
Yes.
superfragilistic mean? And Google will give you
Forward
the
thinking.
meaning
I love it.
in a second. But this year we donated buddy benches. And the reason why is because buddy benches help reduce the percentage of bullying in schools. It's a bench that allows two students, a student when they're feeling lonely, to go sit on the bench.
You've heard of
And when
this?
children see that somebody's sitting there on that bench, they come over and say, hey, you're looking for a buddy, I'll be your buddy.
That I love that.
I wish that was around when I was growing
Yes,
up,
because so many kids are suffering in silence right now.
There you
So
go.
they have someone, one of their peers coming in to
so
give
it's a
them
mental
that.
health component.
Wow,
It's
I
also
love
a place
that.
that people who are already buddies can go sit down and do it.
Yes.
So it was so well received. Angela Morris, giving you a big shout out. She's the vice principal
All right,
of the
thank you,
intermediate
Angela
school.
Morris.
She received it, and she says, you know what? Thank you. We have another project we want to do. We want to do one book where all of the children across the school will be reading from the same book, so that they have something to conversate on.
I love
So
that.
I'm committing right now. We're going to raise that $1,500 that she needs for that. I think the program costs $4,000 and $1,500 short. Angela, I got you. I told her that this morning. I got you. We're gonna make sure that we get that, so that one book project can go. But the buddy bench was so well received at the elementary school, which is right next door to the intermediate school. They said, yeah, can you do one for us? And I was like, absolutely. So Dr. Laverty and Jessica, my shout-outs go out to y'all also. We delivered that today also. So those 2 buddy benches, and they will last. And we want to be involved with the schools up there in Mount Pocono, on the elementary level, on the high school level, intermediate level, all levels, so that we can help give to our future. The children are our future. So that's where I like to see the investment going, into things that are lasting, that they can say, hey, and yeah, Rotary's name rides on it or whatever the case is, but so that they know the source that it comes from.
Yeah. And you know what? And I'm all for, supporting great causes and great, foundations, because this is now a part of the foundation, the Rotary Club Foundation,
the Rotary
right?
Club
That's what we're
and the
talking
foundation. Well, the foundation will raise money, and we're going to raise money through the endowment mechanism, where money that comes in will always sit there, sort of like Rotary International. We have an international foundation, where the International Foundation is sitting on a little over $2 billion. And we never touch the principal. You keep growing that principle, and you use the interest in order to do your good works. That way you always remain, just like Harvard University is sitting on, I think, $30 billion now. So Harvard to be there. Just like, and by the way, let me tell you, Einstein.
I got to cut into it for you a second. You've tuned in to GenesisRadio.com. Thank you for tuning in. We've been having a really good time here. If anybody would like to give us a call and have a question for Hal, or a question for myself or a question for this beautiful young lady, you can give us a call at 888-304-4401. That's 888-304-4401. Or you can send us a chat. All right, young man, I do apologize for that.
No. Hey, yo, look, biggie ups to the empowerment show. You know what I'm saying? Because without shows like this, we won't be informed. And along the lines of empowerment, I brought a little tidbit. In case you don't know, the Einstein College in the Bronx, New York, it has a medical school. They received a $1 billion donation that specifically earmarked so students can go to their medical school and become a doctor, get their qualifications to become a doctor free of charge.
You spoke about that.
Free of charge. This is a
Institute.
full scholarship. Einstein College. It's in the Bronx, New York, okay? And it's tied with the Jacobi and Einstein Medical Center. Please, the percentage of minorities that are in that school is about 5%, which is ridiculous. Okay.
Hold on a second, Hal. I just want to make sure people can actually see you.
All right. So please, go ahead and apply. If you need more information, you can send me an email at rcomppresident. That's RCOMP president at gmail.com, or you can call me at 570-213-3648, and I'll connect you to the information.
And just for those people that can't write as fast as you can speak, the telephone number and the email address.
I'm sorry. Thank you. See, that's why he's the radio host. I'm going to say it and then I'm going to spell it. rcomppresident at gmail.com. That's my bad. RCOMPPRESIDENT at gmail.com.
And the phone number?
The phone number is 570-213-3648. Now let me get to what makes everything possible. Volunteers, the big V. We achieve our victories through people volunteering. Rotary is, all of our members are volunteers. We don't get paid. We get countless hours, but we need volunteers for our event on Memorial Day weekend. On Friday, we need volunteers to help us set up at the Mountain Center, setting up the tables and the chairs, hanging up the sponsor banners and things of that nature. On Saturday, we will need more volunteers to help with the service. We have our famous pancake line that every elected official from Congressman Matt Cartwright to State Senator Rosemary Brown, State Representative Maureen Madden, State Representative Tara Probst, the clerk of courts has been there, George Warden, my man, the sheriff, Nick Sernelli, he was there last year.
Nikki.
All of them come out and help out in flipping the pancakes, but they also come out and do work. Matt Cartwright came out, he flew in. That's why it's called the Flying Driver.
Yeah.
Matt flew in from Washington, D.C. It's called the most expensive breakfast in the world. That's a long way to come just to have some pancake, sausage, and eggs. But he blessed us with his presence last year. But we need regular folk. I give a shout out to Youth Infusion and the Garden of Giving. They came out and they volunteered. They got some of their people to come out and volunteer. No names need to be mentioned, but we gave big checks to organizations that didn't send one volunteer. But that's okay. The community can help us. So if you want to volunteer, again, you can go to our website at Rotary Club of Mount Pocono, mtpocono.org. Rotary Club of mtpocono.org. And you can go to the volunteer tab, and then you can fill out this form and submit it, and it'll come to us, and you can tell us the hours you want to volunteer.
And, I have a question in regards to volunteering, because I work for a company, which I will not divulge online, but we actually do volunteer matching. And I don't know if the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono is on there, but that's something which is an incentive for people to come out and volunteer. And then also, if they do matching hours, those turn into dollars that actually get donated to the Rotary Club. Well, so if you do have an employer that does that, and Rotary Club is part of that program, I think that that would be very good for you to continue to raise money.
Can we say Walmart?
Well, I do have a question.
I'm gonna say Walmart, because Walmart has a distribution center up in Tobyhanna, PA, and for 26 years, nobody from Rotary had reached out to them. When I got involved, I went up there and I met with the manager up there, and he says, "How can we help?" and he became a sponsor. Can we say Wawa?
Amazing.
Because Wawa did the same thing. Ethan, I'm giving you a biggie ups, my man.
You have
He
sheets
stepped up
coming
to
in
the,
as well.
he stepped up, but these people stepped up,
Yeah.
and community church also, Pastor Dave. When I reached out, they was very embracive of what we was doing, and I was like, why wasn't y'all involved for all of these years? And you know what they said? They were never asked.
Never asked.
They were
Yeah.
never asked.
You have not because you asked
You
not.
know, Gotta Go Potty. They do the portable toilets,
Mhm.
whatever the case is, and they've been a legacy sponsor. And ShopRite has been a legacy sponsor. I mean, they've been around for years. But this year, Gotta Go Potty stepped up even more. You know what? I looked at the bill and I'm like, can you do something for us? Can you make this free?
Yeah.
And he said, She said, sure. She says, and then she sent me an email. Do you think we could get a few tickets for the breakfast? I said, you can have 10 tickets, and I'm going to promote you everywhere I go.
Yay. Yeah. You know what? That's what it's about. I love hearing those success stories.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. It's about the community, helping the community.
And that's what it's about. All of us contributing a little bit.
Yeah.
So that we can pull off a big thing. And we don't come to the table because the Rotary has a 4-way test. 1, is it the truth? All right. 2 is it fair to all concerned? 3 is, does it build goodwill and better friendship? And 4, is it beneficial to all concerned? Now that's rather interesting that it asks, is it fair and is it beneficial? See, because these are 2 things, and there's where diversity, equity, inclusion, where the equity and inclusion meet.
Yes.
Because inclusion means we're part of, but equity means we benefit from. That we have ownership of. And this is one of the things that I've tried to do with all of our sponsors, to make sure that when our sponsors come on board, that they get some benefit from being a sponsor. It's not about just taking a check, doing an event. It's recognizing who they are, letting the community know that they stepped up. Like I said, these legacy sponsors have stepped up to make sure that the community has access to this airport. That's a public use airport. There's 209 in Pennsylvania and 1,360 across America. Once we perfect this here, we're going to let this little light of mine shine across America.
I just want to bring you back to a question about the Rotary, okay? I understand that you guys help out a lot of different people when in need, education, a lot to do with education. What do you guys do about helping out homeless, and what do you do with the mental health? That seems to be something that the community would really, especially this community, because mental health is kind of like a big issue around here, and homelessness. You will be surprised. You have people that don't have any place to sleep right here in East Stroudsburg every night, and Stroudsburg. So I'd just like to know, what is the Rotary Club doing to help those people?
Let me address first mental health. Actually, our international president, Gordon R. McNally, that was his theme this year, creating hope in the world. And his focus has been mental health. Now, Rotary Club is not a do everything for everybody organization, but that does fall under our maternal and child health, and mental health is a component, and Rotary has been a part of it. As I reach out, unfortunately, our international president's only elected for 1 year. So if the next president doesn't have sign on to the same thing, it kind of like then becomes another focus. But what we try to do is, I hate that word try, what we do is we reach out and we support the organizations and individuals that impact those particular areas as best we can. Unfortunately, I reached out and they didn't get back with an action plan on what we could do for mental health this year. And one of the things about Rotary is with the Rotary's plan has been electing presidents 1 year for 1 year terms. There's not much you can truly accomplish in 1 year. Let me talk to this housing. That was what I did. I did brokerage and real estate development. And our focus with the Edmonds Group was affordable housing. There is a severe, in fact, extremely severe need for affordable housing in Monroe County. That is not being addressed by our elected officials and by the powers that be. One of the reasons I set up the Rotary Foundation is because that's one of the foundation focuses will be to do that. But it takes time to get the right partners, because you need real estate owners, you need government officials that understand the need, you need people in the local towns that are willing to change the zoning laws, because a lot of folks up in the Poconos don't want to see mass housing built, or affordable housing built because they believe it brings a different elk of people or whatever the case is. And I gotta admit, as a real estate developer, I know that if you provide rental housing versus home ownership housing, the mentality of the occupant is very different.
Yes.
That's why with our development company, we did lease to own. So you would rent it if that was your entry point, but ultimately you would get on the ownership path to own it. And I believe that we can still do the same thing. We can take Section 8 rental vouchers, convert them to home ownership vouchers. It benefits the government because after 20 years, the government can stop paying somebody's rent because that person now owns the house, and then they can live off the reverse mortgage or whatever the case is. But we do have a severe need. There's lots of land out here, but we have to come together in collaborative partnerships. I've reached out to Habitat for Humanity, and hopefully we can come together, whatever the case is, and do some real affordable housing because the prices up here are getting ridiculous, or whatever. And
I think
the
they'll
homelessness
continue
is serious.
to. I think the housing prices will continue to soar, mainly because there are different developments happening. More things are coming into the Poconos and just in the surrounding areas. So I believe that the housing prices will continue to soar, which is okay for a homeowner as myself, like myself, because my home value will go up. But when it comes to having affordable houses or equal affordable housing, um, there's so much. There's so many different land or lots out here that can be used for that. But again, it brings a different elk of
And I'm going to tell you one other thing about the housing out here. I had a conversation. She was here with Christine Wilkinson,
Right.
and she's into real
Wilkins,
estate.
you mean.
Wilkins. She's big into real estate.
Yes.
She was running for a particular office. Well, we were having
She was running for county commission.
right. We were having
Unfortunately, she didn't win.
right. Well, we would have a discussion about the housing situation here and why the rents are going up. And you know exactly. I'm going to tell you what she said. There's nothing we can do about it.
And I don't believe that. First of all, Christine Wilkins is married to probably one of the most powerful real estate brokers up here, Tom Wilkins. And thank you, Tom. You've been a supporter of our event in the past. I hope you continue.
Lawn and Gardens.
Yeah. Home and Garden.
Home and
Wilkins
Gardens,
Home and Garden.
Yeah,
He
I
used
know
to have
what
an
they are.
office over here in Marshall's Creek, and now he's opening
Yes.
this big building or whatever the case is. And they had the finger on the pulse. But I believe why she would make a statement like that is because, like I said, the powers that be don't necessarily want it. They would much rather see a massive warehouse built that they can get guaranteed tax money from or whatever the case is, rather than building an affordable housing complex because they make more on the tax base than they do from the house from the real estate. Residential real estate. They make more from the commercial or whatever the case is. It's easier. And guess what? Those big developers are willing to grease palm, where housing developers, we're looking at pencil trying to figure out how do we make this work? How do we make this happen? Because in the front end, you're incurring massive expensive to build this. And the return on your investment is spread out generally over 20, 30, sometimes even over 40 years. And you're annualizing the return where in a lot of years you might be seeing 24%, but in the front end, you might be taking losses.
Yeah.
You know, with these commercial developments, when they come up and they're built and they get a tenant in them, they're making profit straight away. So it's a very different thing. Then you also have to remember that a lot of people don't want affordable housing because of the type of clientele that they think it's going to bring. What we found in our development company was there needs to be a particular mix. 80-20 is the best mix. 80% market, 20% low and income housing. So when you have that mix, the people who are low income are around enough people that they can be inspired to pull themselves up.
Well, we want that to be the case. I think that in the Poconos, it's more so low income, and this is why a lot of people kind of go elsewhere for work.
Right.
And so I think she has a point when it comes to the rents being as skyrocketing. I think she has a point because it's we have to build it up. This is still a rural area, if you will, right? So this is not a metropolitan city. So we still have to get to that point where we can offer low income housing, even though most of the people here are low income. There are a lot of people though that actually pay taxes in separate states, in dual states, right? And they travel for work because there's no real work here. So I think their idea of getting businesses in order to combat that, where our people can now work where they
Well,
live is
and with that, I
real
gotta
good
take
thing.
I gotta give Chuck a little plug also from the Economic Development Corporation, Monroe County Economic Development Corporation. They're working to try to bring in businesses.
Yes.
But I think the pitch is not right. Okay, the pitch is not, or it's not gelling, because the businesses that they seem to be attracting are, again, big box businesses. We need to focus more on doing live work communities. All right, now, kudos to Matt Cartwright. He's finally jumped over the hurdle in the train. The train. Remember a little tattoo on
I hear it's coming.
on Fantasy Island? The
I
train
hear it's
is
coming.
coming. But
Excited.
this is
Yeah, but-
overcoming the lie that was told.
25 years.
This is overcoming the lie that was told to people 20 years ago that a train would be built when there was no real plans on it. Now the plans are solid. But when the train comes, understand a few things are going to happen. The cost of real estate around those 3 train stations that's going to be here is going to skyrocket.
I know.
You
That's
know,
what I said.
I just hate to bring you guys off.
Okay.
We're kind of really getting off topic here. We're starting to get into politics
Right.
and.
Well, it's
all kind
not
of
even
thing.
politics. It's what's needed.
It
But
kinda
you asked
is.
me about
Right.
affordable housing.
I want right.
So
Well,
I
I
wanna
asked
really-
about what do you guys do to
So
help the homelessness? Now I know that there's organizations like Crossroads, and I just want to know if you
this
guys
is the best way that we
get
can
hooked
help
up
the
with other
homelessness. Like I said,
corporations.
Rotary homeless. We have economic community and economic development,
Right.
so that would fall under that umbrella. But the best way for us as a Rotary Club to help is we are sending out, and this is going out to everybody out there that runs a nonprofit organization that helps the homeless. Please, we are sending out grant applications to the nonprofit organizations to apply for a grant through us.
All right.
And once you submit that, you put how many. There's some criteria. One, you must be a bona fide incorporated not-for-profit corporation. So if you're in your house and you say, I don't make no money from this, you're not a not-for-profit. You have to be, incorporated through a state. You have to have your 501c3 or C4 status in order for us to be able to help you. Then you put into the grant application how much of a grant we can help you out with, or whatever the case is, and you submit it, and then we'll review it, and we'll take it out of the monies that we have. We also have the ability to go beyond our own borders, and we can apply to Rotary International for a grant to help other projects in the community, like the homelessness. And the minimum is 30,000 we can apply for, and the max is 400,000. So if we get these grant applications in, and we get one that says, hey, with this amount of money, and it's a real plan that we can help out, or whatever the case is, we would. But we're not going to get out there and try to, build a shelter. I'm looking for a building that we can use for multi-purpose at some point in the future, whatever the case is. But I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh, Rotary is going to, wave the magic wand and fix everybody's problem. We want to be part of the process of helping. So if you need some help, and I know a lot of nonprofit organizations that help the homeless, they may not have grant writers. That seems to be a real vacuum of them up here, whatever. But if you contact me, I'm happy to help you, put you in touch with somebody who may be able to help you raise the money to help the homeless.
Okay. I was sliding this over to her. Can you pronounce that?
Dayanara
who?
Rosa.
So when it's time to fly, you need to get in contact with
Dayanara Rosa.
And she has a website here. Can you see it?
Let's see here.
This is our first time doing a sponsorship. She's on the travel agency, and she wants to sponsor.
Okay.
She wants to sponsor us.
Amazing. So Dayanara Rosa is at Luxevo Vacation. So it's LUX as in X-ray, EV as in Victor, O Vacations.
Spell it again.
LUX as in X-ray, EV as in Victor, O Vacations.
Now I've been doing some research.
.com.
I've been doing a little research on them, and they seem to have some fantastic trips all over the world.
Okay.
Cruises. You can go to London, Mexico, Paris. They all over the world. Plus they have cruises.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to take a cruise.
Yeah.
When it's time to travel, you give these people here what?
It's Luxevo Vacation. So if you want to travel, I know the summer months are coming up and you're looking for a travel agent, Diana Rosa is the person you want to contact.
That's your plug, y'all.
Yeah.
Diana is now your new plug for
Diana.
that lovely vacation. Go ahead and give her that call. And by the name, I'm going to say habla español.
Yes, she does.
Via
Yes, she does.
Diana Rosa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
El Vacation via Diana Rosa at Luxevo Vacations. Go ahead and reach out.
LuxevoVacations.com, and her telephone number is area code 757-667-8357.
Thank you very much for
You're
helping
very
me out.
welcome.
Hey, you know,
Appreciate that.
there's a good brother here named Terry. He makes all of this possible for GenesisRadio.com. And we got to not forget that without a foundation, we can't build. And this brother has provided the foundation for this show and many other shows for us to get the word out and be in touch with our community. Stop acting shy. Somebody make this phone ring.
and no, the Terry handles that when they do all of that. Terry takes care of that. Just one more question for you, and then I guess we're gonna start wrapping it up. I know you got this event coming up in May.
Okay, it's Saturday, May 25th, 2024. Starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. Come get you some hot pancakes, good sausages, some eggs. It will go to 8 p.m. We have many events going on throughout the day. We have an activity room in the gym with carnival games and the bouncy houses. We'll have a candy drop at the end of the day. Throughout the day, we're going to have shows in the multi-purpose room, different types of shows. We will have a cash bingo going on for most of the day. I've invited my good friends over at the Pocono, Blackfoot Pocono Gun Club to come in. They may be running a poker and spades tournament,
nice.
and dominoes. In another room up there, whatever the case is. Then at the end of the night, we're going to have our raffle for our $100,000 cash 50-50 mega raffle. That drawing will take place at the end of the night. It's going to be a real great event. DJ Strategy is our man on the wheel of steel. He'll
Genesis
be there
Radio's very own
throughout the day.
And you know they got a really good photographer too.
Oh, that's right, we do.
And my man Kendall right here. Yo, I was about to hit the plug.
Yeah.
And we have a photographer, videographer, and what do you call that? The drone man.
Yes.
And he's coming up to help us out so that we can make sure we have it recorded for prosperity or whatever the case.
And you'll have Shaquana Terry there.
Ooh.
Hopefully not flipping pancakes, but whatever you need me to do, I will do.
But let me tell you something. The pancake line is hot. Anybody gets on that line for at least 15 minutes. If you don't want to flip the pancakes, you can make the eggs or the sausages or whatever
I'll
the case
definitely
is.
be there.
But just come on out. Please invite your family and your friends. We have people that travel as far. The furthest away is South Carolina. They actually drive up from South Carolina.
Wow.
We've got people that come from Connecticut. But this is more about having fun for a good cause, because the money then goes back into helping the community. And with this Saturday Institute kicking off, we can really begin impacting our future, because we're going to teach them what they don't learn in school. We're going to teach them about how to build that wealth intergenerationally. See, that means not just me and you and our child, but for our children's children, as the Bible says. We are to provide for our children's children.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think you got to tell her. That's her world. So listen, just one more note: unity in the community. This particular show, the Empowerment Show, is a branch off. We've been spawned from Unity in the Community. August 17th, 2024. Time to have a good time. Time to continue the fun. We're going to be out there. We hope everybody in the community comes out there and have a really good time. We want the sponsorship to come out. We want vendors to come out. As a matter of fact, vendors, you can always give us a call. If you're looking to put up a tent or you're looking to sponsor, give us a call at 888-304-4401.
Say that slowly, please.
888-304-4401.
Yeah, so we have two
You want the radio voice
community
too?
events.
So let me just say something about this unity in the community. It is a great event. We went to it. We had a ball, and it reminded me of something else. We do need a car show. Y'all had a car show there last year. If there's a car show operator out there that would like to tag on to our event on Saturday, May 25th, please reach out to me at 570-213-3676. 3648. We also have space for vendors and food trucks also. We're
Right.
doing international food trucks, so y'all can reach out.
You know, if you want to get in
570.
contact with anybody, I guess with the car show, honestly, I would ask Terry because he put that together last year.
I spoke to. I'm gonna say it again. If there is another car show operator out there
Okay.
that's available for that weekend, please just reach out. And Terry, I'm gonna say this to you about unity and community. Anybody that we have on our list, I'm happy to share our list because I believe that there are corporations and companies out there that will cross-sponsor. Because this is what Coca-Cola and them do. They don't do one event; they do many events. And I'm happy to share Rotary's list of our sponsors with any organization in them. Because if there's something that your organization does that meets one of the things that they want to do, you know, I'm happy to share it and collaborate. And that goes out for all of the organizations around here: NCNW, NAACP, Salvation Army, whoever. If we share, we'll build a better community.
Thank you. Oh,
Okay,
look at
again, GenesisRadio.com. I'm the co-host. My name is Kendall. Shaquana Terry. I'm the co-host. I'm the host.
Shaquana, he just promoted you.
I'm giving the girl a job. Yeah, manifest that. I put it out there in the air. So you know, so this is telling you she probably needs to get a show of her own as well.
I don't know that. It sounds like you want to do less work.
No, not really. I mean, she's here to assist and to help, and a lot of times that's exactly what I need. Is
right.
You know, we have to be our own media people. We have to go out and get out these shows.
Right.
We have to go out and do the interviews. We don't have a team.
Yeah.
We are the team. What you see here is the team.
Mhm.
Well, this is how it starts. You know, I don't
Yeah.
think that Tyler Perry started with that army
That's
base.
right.
He started with a very few people, and he kept growing it. But he like you was handsome, and then he
Handsome.
brought and then he brought in a beautiful assistant,
No.
and they worked that and smiled.
At least you got one attitude right.
And the truth, you know, made it mutually beneficial, and it grows and grows and grows. So that's what we can do together.
Again, Kendall Stevenson, it's that time.
Yes.
We'll see you next week on Wednesday. Actually, next week on Wednesday, it's going to be myself and Miss Terry over here, and we're going to have a nice long conversation about generational wealth.
Yes, and financial literacy.
Intergenerational wealth,
Yes.
Generational wealth. We're going to talk about how you need to spend your money.
That's right.
Okay, that's what we're going to teach you. We're going to
Financial
teach you
literacy.
how to spend your money, how to spend less and make more. How about
There
that?
you go.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kendall
Thank you.
Stevenson,
Thank you for having me.
Shaquana Terry. We're out. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, brother.